Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Adventures. Last time we finished up the summation examination with the jurors here. And we didn't really learn much, all things considered. I mean, we opened up the possibility that the defendant possibly went down a different road, but as the prosecution has just pointed out, there were indeed witnesses to the incident. So we're going to go ahead and see what these witnesses have to say. Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court. By the way, it was a really wild summation examination, though, I will say. Oh my goodness! What is going on here? Constable Rolly Beats, saw. Nothing to report on the streets, saw. Rolly Beats. There's a pun, I'm not seeing it. Constable Rolly Beat. Oh, so this guy needs like a bed. And I'm Mrs. Beat. Patricia's my name. I'm proud to say I'm this young town's hero's wife. What's the story here? Well, in truth, we've not been married long. In fact, we celebrated our first anniversary only the other day. What is wrong with him? No, it was your husband I was asking about. He seems tired. Hardly surprising. Whilst being an honorable occupation, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world. Oh, really? I'm sure I've heard that before, actually. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the detective told us that. Indeed, apart from rare days off, our gallant officers trudge some 20 miles a day, They patrol boarding houses and pubs, collect taxes, survey the streets, check the meters are reading true, and they're responsible for keeping the streets clean and lighting and extinguishing our streetlights. There are a number of items on that list that don't sound much like policing duties at all. I wouldn't just be falling asleep on my feet, I'd have collapsed long ago. But it goes without saying that a policeman's primary duty is the apprehension of criminals. Even when he's off duty, a constable is expected to investigate and resolve any crimes on his beat. For the London Bobby is a man of honor. Why is it like going into his mouth? Or what is going on there? Like that little strap on his helmet. And a man of slumber. On the day in question, this man and his wife were walking down Briar Road in the opposite direction. And they witnessed the incident as it occurred. Is that not correct, Mr. and Mrs. Beats? That's right, sir. Isn't it, Rolly? Seriously, what is he doing? He's like eating the strap to his helmet. Constable Rolly Beats, sir. Nothing to report on the streets, sir. What a great witness he's going to be. Very good. I'd like to hear your formal testimonies now, please. You will tell the court exactly what you saw on the afternoon of the incident. Yes, sir. Oh my goodness. Why don't they just hire more constables? It was our wedding anniversary, and Rolly was taking me out for a meal. There was no time to change after work. Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog on the pavement in front of us. All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor, then the other scattered something before running off. We ran straight over, of course, and then went for help at a nearby police box. It was definitely that Japanese man in the dock. Rolly and I both saw him as clear as day. Alright, so he contributed nothing to that testimony. Well, this is an extremely compelling testimony, I must say. Oh dear, this policeman and his wife are claiming to have positively identified Mr. Natsume at the scene. Their testimony is true. The alternative course of events that you established in the summation examination will be quashed. It's death knell, in fact. Because that alternative was never viable in the first place. What an unfortunate bechancing. And on your wedding anniversary, too. Oh, I know. But I still managed to go out for the evening with my man. I thank the Lord for that. Wait, so you just witnessed a murder and you still went out to dinner? What? Gosh, the life of a London bobby sounds very hard indeed. Indeed. However, this cross-examination will be over in minutes. You may well have time to rest this afternoon. What do you mean by that? My learned friend, the witnesses saw the face of the man fleeing the scene. Your Honor, I believe it was my client's evil twin that did the crime. My case rests. Alright, they're testifying under oath that it was without doubt the accused, Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Oh dang, the triple exclamation points. And one of these witnesses is a policeman, no less. So you appreciate the gravity of the situation, I'm sure. He didn't say anything. What are you talking about? Oh, we got all 6 of them. Except that the man's so tired, his wife has to do all the talking. Enough preamble. Counsel for the defense, commence the cross-examination, please. Yes, my lord. The prosecution's so good, he got all 6 of the jurors to exclaim like that. Alright, it was our wedding anniversary and Rolly was taking me out for a meal. There's no time to change after work.
Hold it!
Hold it! No time to change after work, you say? Are you also a member of the police, Mrs. Beat? Oh no, sadly not. It's a job for strapping young men only. Women, children, and the elderly can't even apply. Well, I think you can probably see why children and the elderly can't do the job, can't you? I think Rolly looks ever so handsome in his uniform. It suits you down the ground, doesn't it, darling? Why does she keep doing that? What? I just finished my beat. Pat and I were heading back to the station. I was actually planning on getting changed there. Is he talking in his sleep? This is creepy. Oh no, Rolly, I much prefer you in uniform. Sometimes, I don't recognize you when I see you in plain clothes. Oh dear, that doesn't seem healthy. She likes the uniform, not the dude, it would seem. Kindly adhere to the point. You were going for a meal after you had finished your beat for the day, correct? That's right, sir, yes. Although I was fit to drop, to be honest, after spending the whole day on my feet. But policing is my life, sir. As long as I'm the proud owner of this, I'll serve my city and my queen to the end. Evidence? Oh, what's that now? My warrant card, sir. Proof that I'm a London copper. It has the noble founding principles of the force written on it. As a reminder to all us policemen of sworn duty. To patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of the common man. Sir! And for such a noble cause, I cover 20 miles every single day without fail and without grumble. Because I know that the plodding of my boots is all Londoners need to hear to feel safe and secure. So fighting crime doesn't appear to come into it then. But sir, just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Mrs. Beat put up with a lot being married to a bobby like me. I wanted to show my dear wife how much I care. Oh, wow. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly. That's cute. Oh, what a charming couple. Their young love is such a joy to behold. If a little over the top, perhaps. And then, kindly describe what happened next. Anyway, 2 silhouettes appeared out of the fog on the pavement in front of us. Was one following the other? I need more information, dang it. 2 silhouettes. That's right. They were coming towards us, walking up Briar Road in the opposite direction. There was a rather plump figure, followed by a scrawny, thin-looking man. That does sound exactly like the victim as pictured in this print, and like Mr. Natsume. Yes, unfortunately, it does. What if one of the books is his book and they accidentally swapped it out somehow? That would be wild. And you're certain that at the time there's nobody else nearby? Oh yes, quite certain. It was dark, but there are streetlights on Briar Road, you see. There was nobody else around at all. Isn't that right, my darling? Huh? What? Yes, that's right. Of course there was a light fog on the ground. But Briar Road is a dead straight, and you can see a fairly long way down the pavement. And then there's the street lighting as well. I didn't see any other pedestrians. Before sleep takes a firm hold, your answer, please. Mr. Beat, are you quite sure of what you just said? Yes, sir. As a copper who spends all day, every day, keeping watch on the streets, I swear to it, sir. I'm as sure as my love for Patricia is true. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly. They're still maintaining their no one else around other than the victim and the attacker. It's starting to seem like that must be how it really happened. It's beginning to seem like there's nowhere to run. Well, that didn't stop Mr. Natsume, did it? He fled the scene all too convincingly. Thank you. I believe we have a reasonably clear idea of the situation just before the incident now. What happened in the crucial moments that followed? All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor, then the other scattered something before running off. What was that something? I feel like this is the important statement here. Scattered something? What do you mean by that? Oh, well, I couldn't quite make out what it was at the time. But when we got closer, we realized what it was. Didn't we, darling? What? Oh, yes, that's right. It was some old books. I see. Old books. Yes, sir. The culprit had dropped a number of them, all around where the victim lay on the pavement. Indeed, as clearly pictured in this photographic print. That rotten Japanese man did what he did that when he did the deed. Let's not forget that it remains to be established that the defendant was indeed the attacker. But we saw him. It was the man in the dock, without a question, sir. The mustache, the hunchback, the cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, the snub nose, everything. Any more insults you want to throw in? That's right, he looked down at that poor defenseless woman with those terrifyingly intense eyes. And then suddenly threw his books onto the pavement and ran away. But why would he do that, though? I see. This is tough. They seem as though they're telling the truth here. May I remind the court that this unambiguous testimony comes from a policeman and his wife? Now please, continue. Yes, sir? We ran straight over, of course, and then went for help at a nearby police box. Alright, what's up with that? Was it your husband who went to fetch help? No, I went. I may not be a police officer myself, but I am the proud wife of one, after all. Isn't that right, my darling? What? Yes, that's right. I asked Mrs. Beat to go. I was off duty by that point. But a Bobby's never truly off duty, of course, so I felt obliged to stay and guard the scene. Very laudable, Mr. Beat. Preserving the scene of a crime is a task of considerable importance. That's why I sent Patricia, you see. I told her where to find the right police box. Forgive my ignorance, but what do you mean exactly by the right police box? Depends on a crime's location, you see, as to who deals with it. Where the woman was stabbed wasn't actually on my beat. So I told Patricia the way to the police box for the beat the incident fell under, so she could go and report it. I ran there as quickly as I could and asked for help from the Bobby on duty. There's nothing more potent than a young couple in love working together, you know. And thanks to your swift response, the case was quickly resolved. The actions of two model citizens. Oh, please, you're making us blush. Isn't he, darling? Yes, sir. What Patricia said, sir. Well, let's move on, shall we? Hey, I'm getting nervous here. I haven't uncovered anything new. It was definitely that Japanese man in the dock. Rolly and I both saw him as clear as day. But surely you wouldn't have been able to see his face by the light of the gas street lamps, would you? Oh, she's angry. We absolutely could. Us Londoners have exceptional eyesight, I'll have you know. Stop it! Whatever you're doing, stop it. Right. The light from the street lamps was more than enough. And my husband already told you that the fog was only light, didn't he? Yes. And what of the fog? We're famous for it across the globe, I believe. But it's an absolute menace to those of us who have to live with it, of course. Oh, it is. And when it's thick, you can't even see the hand at the end of your own arm. Yes, alright, I take your point. Now, could you stop shaking your husband about? The constant fog makes your eyes very sharp, you see. That's why we can tell you for sure and certain that it was that little Japanese man we saw. Can't we, darling? What? Yes. It was the accused, and no mistake. The mustache, the hunchback, the cat-like eyes, the top mouth, the unmistakable, sir. As far as this couple's testimony is concerned, there can't be any question. It was Sosuke-san as they saw running away from the scene of the crime. So, that's it, is it? That's their entire testimony. Okay, this feels like one of those cases where I had to press everything. Based on this kind of line of dialogue here. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, I hate to admit it, but on hearing the testimony, it really does seem as though Mr. and Mrs. Beat saw what they saw. Mr. and Mrs. Beat saw what they say they saw. Wow, say that 5 times fast. Mr. Natsume running away from the scene on Briar Road that day. Yes, I feel the same. So if that's true, where does it leave us? The members of the jury are sure to call for a guilty verdict after this testimony. Oh no! Then what do we do? Kazuma-sama were here. Oh, what are you trying to say? I'm saying he would do a better job than you. That's what. I think we would try to find a contradiction somewhere else within their testimony. What do you mean, somewhere else? Their statement about seeing Mr. Natsume is unequivocal. Calling that into question won't help. But if you could identify some other part of their testimony which appears to contradict the facts, you might be able to discredit them, to make the jury doubt if the pair's memory of the day is accurate. Oh, right. Put simply, we must focus on finding a discrepancy in their statements somewhere. If we don't, I'm afraid the trial may reach an early and unfavorable conclusion. Ugh, why do I always seem to be up against it? Okay, so there is, oh, never mind, something's happening here. Mr. Lawyer, sir, can I ask you something? Oh, yes, of course, what is it? Well, you keep asking us all these questions about everything we've told you, so... It seems like you don't believe our testimony. Is that right, is it? Well, out with it. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? What? No. Oh, no, really, it's nothing. It's really not that at all. My husband is a policeman, remember? And I know what I saw. I remember every last detail. Everything. Like... Oh, I know. What about the books the man dropped? I could tell you the names of every single one, I could. Every single one. Oh, this is gonna get us somewhere. And you dare to question how reliable my testimony is? That will do, Mrs. B. No, it won't do at all. That Japanese lawyer has no idea what I'm capable of. If I decide to forgive him for insulting us, don't think for a minute that Rolly will. I really didn't mean to cause offense. Please, put your husband's fist down. Oh my god, please put your husband's fist down. What a line. But perhaps you would like the opportunity to supplement your testimony, Mrs. B. Might that appease you? Oh, thank you, my lord. That would settle things nicely. Wouldn't it, darling? Yeah, he doesn't care. I could even tell you the names of the 4... Oh! Why would you say that? There was definitely 3 books. Objection. So you're saying that there were 4 books? That's right, I remember all of them. The picture of Monsieur somebody? What's it yearnings? A meal for someone? And the thingummy something. What? Wait, are those the actual names of the books, or is she just not remembering the full name? I'm sorry, Mrs. Beat. But there's a fundamental flaw in that statement of yours. Oh no, what flaw? Simply that, at the scene of the crime. Oh, a massive point. There were 3 books, not 4. What? Have a good look at this photographic print of the scene of the crime. As you can clearly see, there are only 3 books. But, no, that can't be. I saw them. Oh, I know what it is. Yes, you can't fool me. Sorry? It's that big old lump of a dead body. The lady's so large, her corpse is blocking the view of the 4th book, that's all. Let's at least try to remember that poor woman isn't dead, even for insulting her size. No, that's very insulting. No, I'm sorry, Mrs. Beat. But Mr. Natsume could not possibly have dropped the 4 books you describe. Why not? Fascinating. And if I'm your sure tone, something you can readily substantiate with evidence, I presume. Ah, evidence. Counsel, you will present evidence to substantiate your claim or withdraw it. What proof do you have that the accused did not drop 4 books? Let me look at this receipts. Because this is probably it right here. Wait, oh, yeah, this is totally it. Because the receipt only has 3 books on it.
Take that!
The evidence is right here. In the form of this bookshop receipt. From your books. Yes, this receipt details Mr. Natsume's purchases that day. But as you can see, only 3 books are listed. No! Therefore, Mr. Natsume would have only dropped 3 books at the scene of the crime. Which means that your powers of observation, madam, cannot be relied upon. I feel like that's not really proof, though, because if I was a prosecutor, I would just say, well, he just had that 4th book with him the whole time, you know? He carried it with him to the shop. Something like that, you know? Grr. So it cannot be denied that though you say it was the defendant you saw, you could very well be mistaken. Oh, no. Oh, no, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. No!
Objection!
It's plainly evident that is your powers of deduction that cannot be relied upon, my learned Nipponese friend. What? What cannot be denied is that these 2 witnesses saw the accused running from the scene. A fact that you know very well you have no hope of disproving. Ah! So you've striven to avert attention from that by dint of some inconsequential discrepancies. Would that be fair? Ugh, he sees right through me. But your plan has somewhat recoiled against you. What are you talking about? It's quite simple. Let me explain with a toast. To the policeman's wife, and her entirely accurate testimony, in every respect. Oh. You see, the matter is not up for debate. At the scene on Briar Road, a total of 4 books were most definitely found. Then where is the 4th book in the photograph, my dude? But what about the photographic print? It only shows 3 books. Quite right. Only 3 can be seen in that print. That print? You mean to say? Oh, do you have another picture? Oh my gosh, dude. Allow me to present another, one that shows the victim's hand. I don't believe it. It's the 4th book. And what's the title on that say? The Lion's Pride? As you will observe, the 4th book was hidden from view in the original print by the victim's torso. No! No! Order! Order! There, you see? You see? Look at that. Look, look, look. Yes. It's just like I said, isn't it, my darling? Yes, sir. Patricia's always right, sir. But that doesn't make sense, right? Because the victim is holding it. If he had scattered the books, why would she be holding onto it? Let us study the receipt for the books purchased by the accused on the day in question. Mrs. B, the titles once again, if you please. Oh yes, of course. The picture... Hang on. Can I look at this myself? The picture reminds there somebody or other. Okay, that's the first one. Oh, he's gonna do it for me. Okay. What's it, yearnings? Canterbury yearnings. A meal for someone. A meal for Gabrior. In fact, I don't know how to say these names. As the court has just heard, the witness remembers the book titles flawlessly, save for a few minor details. Dude, she is missing half the words of those titles. That is not flawlessly. Come on now. Mrs. B's powers of recollection can only be described as exceptional. What's the last one that we're missing here? Oh no, she has the name of the last one. That's right. Did you hear that, Rolly? The gentleman paid me a compliment. Yes, sir. Flawless, sir. Patricia is flawless. But what's the name of the last one? But there are only 3 books on the receipt, and Mrs. B mentioned 4. What was the last one? There's nothing surprising about that. Clearly, the 4th book is that which is shown in this photographic print. Man, I wish I remembered what she said. I'm sorry, counsel, but does that seem odd? Not seem odd? Why should the 4th book be omitted from the receipt? It's not odd at all, my lord. As the photograph clearly shows, the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. Oh, you know what I just noticed too? The book, it's like about lions, right? And it's also burnt. So maybe this book came from the apartment of the landlord somehow. Like it was thrown out the window, I don't know. In other words, it belongs to the victim. The victim was holding her own book? I wonder what became of that 4th book. Obviously, it wasn't overlooked by the investigating officers of Scotland Yard. I have it here as evidence. Can I look at that, please? Is it burnt? You will submit that and the aforementioned photographic print to the court, please, counsel. My pleasure, my lord. The second crime scene photograph was added to the court record. And the 4th book entitled The Lion's Pride. We're getting somewhere with this, guys. We're getting somewhere. The prosecution rests. Well, hang on. Is it burnt? Oh! Would you look at that? Oh, look at this. The book has been badly burnt. You're right. You'd never be able to read it in this state. Especially not the latter pages. What a terrible waste. Judging from the scorched edges of the paper, I think the damage must have occurred very recently. Oh, you don't say. A book. Recently damaged by fire. Why does that seem to raise a red flag with me? Alright, we got that updated. I don't assume I can learn anything from the cover, can I? Oh, hang on. Let me see. It's a book entitled The Lion's Pride. I'm afraid I don't know any English literature at all, so it wouldn't be something I've heard. Wait a minute. The Lion's Pride? That's strange. I think I've heard of a book by that name before, and very recently too. It's a title I recognize too, Mr. Naruhodo. Alright, we will get to that real quick, I imagine. I have nothing further to add. What? You seem surprised, my learned friend. But your resistance until now has been in vain. Entertaining, yes, but futile. The spurious longer route to the accused lodgings that you tried to establish in your summation examination, and the attempted discrediting of the witness's powers of recollection in your cross-examination. Futile? I walked right into this, didn't I? You see, everything we said is true. Isn't that right, my darling? Yes, Pat. Marry me, Pat. So perhaps the ladies and gentlemen of the jury would like to reconsider their positions? Should the court waste any more time on this Nipponese travesty? Or is the decision you have to make all too apparent already? You have heard all the witnesses and seen all the evidence. This trial has run its course. Mr. Naruhodo, I'm afraid we are in a terribly precarious position. I know, but if I fight back in the wrong way now, I could very well just make matters worse. Think, Ryunosuke, think. What do we do now? Alright guys, I'm gonna leave the episode here. It's gonna be a bit of a cliffhanger, I know, but next time we'll definitely bring up the book, you know. I imagine that has to come into play like right now, you know. We'll see where that takes us. So yeah, I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good day, guys. Bye!